right, so let's get into this playoff basketball in the NBA. It's a lot of really good games going on. I've really enjoyed the first round of the playoffs so far and the first games that we had yesterday. So, Trevon, one game I really would like to talk about, and we can talk about the series, as a whole, but the Lakers and Nuggets. So, I thought that that was a really good game, and the Lakers came out really strong, but the Nuggets eventually came back and ended up taking game one and protecting home court. So, what are your thoughts on that game, and how can the Lakers bounce back and get this next game or even have a chance to win this series?
Yeah, I think it's simple. I think they just need to do a better job at executing for a full game and obviously getting their two role players to continue to contribute or contribute better than what they have been doing. I think the Lakers started out every game very good. It typically goes in the same scenario with every game they play against the Nuggets. They start out good, they start out hot. Sometimes they get out to a pretty good double-digit lead. And then as the game goes on, the lead dwindles and the Nuggets slowly take control back over the game. And the game that they just had, game one, was another example of that. The Lakers were in control and command. They were executing every time down. They were executing plans both sides, offensively and defensively, but they never put the Nuggets out enough. They never got too comfortable of a lead, even if they were to go up close to 20 points. I feel like the Nuggets still would have been able to walk them down. It's almost like the Nuggets just have a switch to where they can cut on and start playing the brand of basketball that we become accustomed to watching them play. But the Lakers are going to have to execute for a full game because that's where they always lose the game. Jokic always makes the right play. Murray seems like he hits every big shot. The key guys and Kentavious Caldwell Pope is always knocking down the shots that are available to him. Michael Porter is a sniper, and Eric Gordon does his job defensively and is just in the right spots at the right time. And then the role players between Austin Reeves and D'Lo, they're just going to have to contribute. You can't rely on a 39-year-old LeBron and Anthony Davis to carry the whole load every single game. You're going to need that supporting cast because the Nuggets sure have that supporting cast on their end.
Yeah, most definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head. If you look at it, Anthony Davis and LeBron James did their part. They were amazing. They were great, and they produced on the offensive end, and on the defensive end they played very well as also. But the Nuggets, like you said, their execution was just way better than the Lakers, especially late in the game. And the Nuggets are the best execution team in the league, in my opinion. So when it comes down to it, the Lakers are just going to have to play a full 48 minutes of basketball and be locked in. There were times when the Lakers had lulls throughout the game, especially in the third quarter. It was defensively, like D'Lo. I know a lot of people are going to talk about D'Lo not hitting shots or the role players not being able to provide offense, and that's true. They need to be more consistent on the offensive end, but their effort and their ability to execute late in games, those are the biggest issues for me because there were times where
Mhm.
the Nuggets would get rebounds and push in transition, and that would
Yeah.
cause cross matches or mismatches when they got down the floor. AD wouldn't be on Jokic. You have Rui on Jokic or a smaller player on Jokic, and they would get into that dribble handoff, and they would create help opportunities that the Lakers would have to help over, and they would drive and kick or things like that and get mismatches a lot. So the Lakers, they have to execute better and they have to give better effort. A lot of times D'Lo would lose KCP in that third quarter. KCP went on a hot streak where he was knocking down a lot of 3-point shots, and some of those threes were because D'Lo wasn't aware of where he was off the ball. So I think yes, the Lakers have to do a better job executing on the offensive end and knocking down shots, but they have to do a way better job in transition, locking in on the defensive end, and being able to match up in order to have a chance to win this next game and also this series. So that's how I see it. The Nuggets, they just took advantage, man. And I told you this earlier. The Nuggets remind me of the Golden State Warriors from that 2015 to 2020-ish range, where in the third quarter, you always knew that they would make a run. And when the Nuggets went on that run in the third quarter, it clicked. It feels like that Golden State era where you just knew no matter how much they were down, no matter how much of a lead that team has, that they were going to make a run in that third quarter and they're going to execute down the stretch to win games. So it was just one of those feelings I had from watching the Nuggets in that third quarter. But at the end of the day, it comes down to execution, and the Lakers have to do that, and if they want to have a chance of winning.
Yeah, to respond to what you were talking about, the Nuggets and their third quarter dominance, it's like I feel like even before then, they started walking down the Lakers in that second quarter. The
Most
Lakers had a
definitely.
comfortable lead going into the second. That's when the Nuggets started to really turn it on. Michael Malone said in the post game press conference that they were getting the looks that they wanted. They were getting good shots. Some of them just didn't fall in. It was just a matter of sticking to their game plan and continuing to execute and trust in what they were doing. And that's the thing we're seeing lacking on the Lakers side. They'll do it for a good stretch. And then they'll have just like a moment in the game where they get very careless. They do a lot of turnovers. LeBron had a few on his part. D'Lo had one on a fast break. And like you're saying, the mental lapses on defense of just losing track of the players off the ball because you know this is just going to be good execution plays, nonstop movement. Murray's coming off of down screens and DHOs and curling off of it and finding his spot. I think it's just a lot of awareness where the Lakers don't have that stick to itiveness that the Nuggets seem to always have. And that's what ended up getting them in this game. And a lot of people were already doubting the Lakers being able to win the series from the jump. It was more so like a thing about can they get a few games? Can they win one game in the series? Can they just not get swept? And game one was a really big factor in them being able to have some of those outcomes happen, come true. Now they can still win game two, but it's kind of tough. I don't. You have to think about the mental confidence that the Lakers are having because it seems like they just continue to lose in the same fashion all the time. And then it kind of becomes a question of can we really beat these guys? Yeah, that's some self-doubt that probably does come in just because it's human nature. They've lost 8 games in a row. And unless they touch up and shape up their execution, they're not going to have a really big chance to beat the Nuggets in the series, let alone win more than a few games.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's funny how you talk about that doubt in your head. And LeBron even said that's not how he tries to see it. But it does come to a point of if we don't do these things that we need to do to win and we don't execute down the stretch, it's just going to be inevitable that this team is going to beat us. So they have to tighten those things up. And it goes kind of back to in LeBron James and JJ Redick's podcast when they were talking about series and the flow of the NBA playoffs, and one possession can lose you a series, or if you have a mental lapse here, it can lead to so many other things that happen throughout a game or a series that can just make it shift. And then game one, it just kind of showed that is definitely a true statement. The Lakers were really flowing in the first quarter. The Nuggets were executing in the second, walking them down. LeBron James hits that deep three-pointer to put them up going into the second half, and then the Denver Nuggets just flipped that switch, were executing throughout the third quarter, and the Lakers were not. And that was really the difference. So in the third quarter, the Nuggets, they won that quarter 32-18. So it just kind of shows how one little lapse, one little misjudgment, or one little mistake can change a series or change a game. And those are things that the Lakers are going to have to tighten up if they really want to have a chance.